we keep seeing a vast difference in what reflective accounts are and what people think reflective accounts need to be. So hopefully over the next half an hour or so that we really embed and create an example of what a reflective account has. And Adrian and myself discussed last night basically about what we think if we were doing this webinar, what the best or what would I want to get out of it. So I've come up with some tangible examples. So if you could, please, if you can go on www.slido.com and do the J265, please, for me. And then I will show you the question that I would like you to do for us, if you could. Can you put your thumbs up when you're on there for us, please, on the chat? And then I'll obviously I'll go on to the Slido. But if you can put thumbs up on the chat, I would really appreciate when you're actually on it. So just to thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah, Rebecca.
I'm sure there's more than one that's going on it.
Sure, yeah. Once you're on Slido, guys, and you got your event number, just let us know.
Thank you, Isaac.
Cheers, Callum. Emily's on.
So as the question is asked, is what do you think should go on a reflective account to reach a distinction? Okay, so if you can please go on that now and obviously start putting some questions into there. So what do you think goes into a reflective account to reach a distinction? So can we start putting some inputs into there, please? See what his thoughts are. So what do you think should go in the reflective accounts? Doesn't matter what goes in here. This is just my starting point. I want to know what your thoughts are at the moment. So detailed response, answering all questions, providing evidence, getting your answer across constructively. Excellent. Good practice, but also what we can improve on. Excellent. I like them too. Evidence include feedback, emails, screenshots. Excellent. Evidence to support your work, detailed work, explaining clearly, plenty of evidence. Like it, like it. And some more. Is any in the chat, Neil?
We've got Rob and Cal got thumbs up. So they're thumbs in.
Up, all right. What, why, when, and how? What do you mean? So what you're doing, how, what we did well, yeah, what can we improve on? How we are going to do it? Excellent, brilliant. Let's just have a few more and then I'll go back on to.
We've had a couple join, Darren, so the code is J265 on slido.com for those that have just joined us. If you want to jump on.
Yeah, there is another question, so I will ask you to go on again. So what will you do differently for next time and why? Excellent. Also, just who just thinking outside the box now, just on this, who do you think you might get this, or where do they think this evidence will come from, and who might support you with the evidence? If we can start putting some stuff like that. So what type of evidence maybe, and who might help you? Anybody? Can we put something on? Team leaders,
Darren
schools,
Ellis.
excellent.
Darren, I don't think Ellie can see the PowerPoint.
Ellie can't see the PowerPoint.
I don't know if anybody else is having that or...
No, I can't see it either.
I'm not on, right, okay, so I'll stop that and I'll go back on to the PowerPoint. So just, can you tell me, can you see the PowerPoint now?
No, not yet.
Not yet, okay. So can we see the PowerPoint?
No. Yeah, no, I can.
It's
Thank
on
you.
there for me.
No problem at all. So some really good things in principle to what you think will be obviously on a reflective account. So just want to add a little bit on to why we do reflective accounts. So with you, we need to complete, if you're on a cohort 3, you will be completing 1 account or 2 accounts every unit that you're doing. It depends whether you're on the level 2 or the level 3. With the current cohort 1 and 2, you will be doing up 5 in the region of 5 to 10 accounts. But these reflective accounts go towards your endpoint assessments. Obviously, the EPA is the process of an independent organisation, which are called Elite Training Services. They will be coming, and next week there will be a webinar on the EPA process, so please look out for that, and if you're interested, please pop onto it. But obviously, which was really good on some of the feedback on the Slido, the accounts are questions, and you need to explain them in your own words how you deal with that situation. Okay, so like I said, I tried to think doing this webinar a little bit more tangible, so you can actually see some reflective accounts, and we'll discuss what's good, what's bad, or not areas of improvement if you say to go forward. So again, the evidence that we're going to look at, we're going to have a look at 2 pieces of work, and we're going to discuss the thoughts. We're going to have some examples of some reflective accounts. There's going to be some guidelines from Elite Training Services, and I'm going to show you what feedback you should be getting from us as tutors, Duncan, myself, George, Adrian, and the other people that will be marking that. So can we please go back on to Slido, because I'm going to show you 2 reflective accounts, and I just want your thoughts on that. Okay, I want your thoughts on what. Don't put it into the Slido straight away. Just have a look at it, have your thoughts, and then when I've shown you the 2 pieces of evidence, if we can then open up the Slido and see what we're thinking. Okay, so any questions so far? No. So right, this is one evidence. So this is a reflective account number 8. Obviously, it's asking for demonstrate the fundamental principles of safeguarding. So if us as tutors were getting this, what's your thoughts so far? So let's start thinking about what you've initially put in the chat. This is an actual evidence from one of our students. So that's on the first.
Darren, is that on a Word? Sorry, Darren, is it on a Word file?
It's on a Word document, yeah.
Oh, right. I can only see the slides. I'm not sure if anybody else is, and it's just my computer being slow.
Come off that again. Thank you, Neil.
No problem.
So have you got that? Can you
I can
see the Word
Slido?
document? Can you see the Word document? Yeah, sorry for that. Didn't put it on desktop like you told me to, Neil. So this is a reflective account, if you say so. Just on the description, I just want your thoughts at the moment, what you're looking at, what you're thinking. Just keep it to yourself, and then we'll open up the Slido. So that's the first description. Then you've got the evaluation side of it. And you've got the impact. And then you've got the description side of it. So that was one reflective account. Then you're going to have a look at the second one. So again, start thinking about what's good, what's bad. See what's in the piece of work. Okay, so just finishing off, obviously, with that. So what I need you to do, if you can go back onto the Slido and just to remind you that it's www.slido.com. It's J265. So if you can start putting your thoughts onto this again for us. So on the strengths and weaknesses side, so if you can start putting your thoughts of what you've just seen on the tangible evidence. So what was the strengths of that, what you've seen, and what the weaknesses were, if you say. So good evidence, use of photographs. Was that first? So obviously that was the second one. Excellent. Any more? So pictures to back up the writing, yeah, rather than lines and lines. Good evidence, good use of evidence and statistic. Okay, so these are a lot of good things. Detail of writing. What sort of things do you think you might get back off tutors that more on the first one? What do you think could be better? So what kind of like weaknesses do you think there was? So there's a lot of good things there. So what if there's a lot of lines on your pieces of work, if you say, so working on the scenarios. Okay, so there's a lot of strengths there. Did you see any weaknesses that maybe some of them reflective accounts could have done differently? So how were the structure of the pieces of work? Well, the paragraphs, what were the numeracy or literacy like? Spelling, grammar, pronunciation. So they're areas that we as tutors will be looking for on there. So I really appreciate detail on that. I'll just come off that and obviously go back onto the PowerPoint. So can everybody see the PowerPoint?
I can.
Thank you very much. So a lot of good things there in regarding evidence, nice structure, some visual aid. There was some good use of ICT, like arrows pointing to feedback, pointing to things like that. So that's good on relation to. But I just want to add a couple of things. So with that, I want to go into a bit more. I want us to try, and I'm putting myself out of my comfort zone with this as well, but I want us all to try to do a reflective account. And if we could put it on chat, or if people are confident enough to come off our mute and start talking to myself, because I'm going to try to do some bullet points on here. So I want us to have a bit of a reflective account on obviously this pretty serious thing that's happening to the world about the coronavirus. And I want us to start to think about, this is a scenario or the reflective account on the coronavirus. So I'm wanting us to fill in the next 3 boxes, really. So can people actually have the confidence to, what's the government's roles, responsibilities, what's happening, what did they do, or what are they doing, what's the main aims of the coronavirus, what's Boris Johnson trying to do, what's the outcomes, what skills is he using? So can we start putting some on chats or start talking to myself?
Minimalise spread from Jake.
Say that again.
Jake has said minimalise spread.
Okay, brilliant. So
Ben put in rules in place.
rules in place.
Josh has also said about stopping the spread.
Yeah.
Isaac has said save lives.
Yeah.
So think about the
yes.
methods as well, guys.
So saving lives. Okay.
Yeah.
So saving lives. What's the government started to do so saving lives is brilliant, but what kind of evidence have they started putting into place? So who has Boris kind of like took to heart, and how is he trying to minimize the spread of this awful disease, virus, I should say.
Right then. So Emily has said send only essential workers in, so vulnerable people are cared for correctly.
Yeah.
Chuck has said about helping the NHS.
Yeah, NHS.
We've had lockdown from Joshua.
Lockdown, yeah.
Callum has said keeping key workers such as NHS workers by schools staying open.
Yeah.
Short over 400,000 people have come forward to volunteer for the NHS.
Yeah.
Jack has said stay 2 meters away from other people.
To stay away. So that's called social distancing, isn't it?
Yeah. Ian has put use of specialised staff, i.e. the health ministers, etc.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to kind of like, so staff, so specialised staff. So we've kind of, so again, a lot of good tangible like descriptions and stuff. But if us as tutors were asking for some evidence to support all this, we've just spoke about like the volunteers, which were really good. How would I be able to start pulling a little bit of this information together with evidence? So if this was a scenario that we were some really good descriptions of what's happening, what Boris is trying to do, the key outcome is to obviously minimise deaths and so on. But what evidence could we add into this specific type of question? So where would we find the evidence? Or what could we use for evidence?
So, sorry, Darren, Ellie put about isolation and key workers being able to have some schools open. So that was the latest comment on sort of the methods, the what's.
Yeah. It's more the hows. How is he doing it?
Yeah.
Where's our evidence to show that?
So Ian's put the scientific community in the World Health Organization.
So health organization, yeah, excellent. So we could go on the website, agree?
Harry's put quotes from news articles, so the media.
Yeah, media, excellent. So I know media, but newspapers, obviously social media like websites, photographs as well. I'm pretty confident, especially about the lockdown. If you look out of your window now, and you probably won't see many people out there. So like a photograph of blank space, or like your estate or your street or something like that. So some really good stuff there. So I really appreciate your input. So now let's reflect on Boris.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We've had a couple more. So Ellie put speaking to NHS staff.
Excellent.
So some have been vocal recently, saying what's happening on the front line. And Silas has put the death toll.
Yeah, excellent. Because obviously they've started putting some comparisons, haven't they, between Italy now have gone more deaths than China, where it first came from. And like obviously on the description, we could have said where it came from, and we could have gone on the website. Excellent. So now the next section, the reflection side of it. So if you say the SWOT analysis, if you say, of strengths and weaknesses of what the government have done. So what relevance, who's been involved. So if we were filling this section in, what's our thoughts on reflecting on the coronavirus and how our government has been, let's talk about the strengths. So what do you think Boris has done well over the last week within the media or within us as a nation? For me, communication. I think his communication.
Ian's also put that. Ian's put good communication of difficult information.
Yeah. So communication. And that's been in different ways, hasn't it? On TV, social media, like on NHS, so on and so on. So communication. What other strengths has Boris or the government been doing? Another thing that's gone into it, which is data. I think they've obviously spoke to the scientists and discussed about what the data is. So any others? Anybody want to talk to me?
Callum's put created an element of safety through promising payments to people affected. So he's been reassuring, he's sort of modelled empathy, if you like, and understood the general public.
Can everybody see my screen?
I could.
That now, I've just clicked back off. I've just seen some messages, can't see the evidence. So speak to NHS. So yeah, I think also another positive thing which Callum spoke about, like obviously trying to support regarding money. Yeah, talking about trying to not make any redundancies, putting 80% wage into there and stuff. So I think that's really good with that. What about on the impact, applying it? What knowledge, skills and behaviours? And this is one massive thing that you need to think about when you're doing your pieces of work, just with knowledge, skills and behaviours. Make sure you relate a lot of these through. And the next one, I've got a good example of how to embed this into your work. But what knowledge, skills and behaviour? What is the government, what knowledge? So you can talk about scientists. So science elements, yes. What else? What other knowledge, skills and behaviours have the government done to make a positive experience out of this, as such, if there can be a positive experience? Anybody? Okay. All right. So I just tried to just put us all out of this comfort zone. The reflective accounts, I just thought I'd come up with a coronavirus outline to it, and But just wanted to bring it back a little bit into regarding an actual, a good one, a good reflective account. So just
Darren?
yeah.
Josh has put ensuring people still get paid so they can stay safe.
Yeah. No, that's good. I think some really good points, and I obviously put you on the spot, trying to get you to think about how we could do. But can everybody see on the screen in relation to? Can still see the Word document. The Word document with a new reflective account.
I can see it. Silas has put use data to analyse departments needed to carry on working.
Excellent.
Ian can see your screen.
Good. That's brilliant. So just to show you what we've kind of like discussed. So just with, if you say strengths and weaknesses and embedding stuff. So as a tutor, the sort of things that we're going to really look at are your numeracy and literacy. On the we have got a numeracy form that and literacy form that we need to stick to. So some real nice clear structure, some evidence, obviously referencing our knowledge, skills and behaviours, structuring. There's some hyperlinks in the documents talking about knowledge, skills and behaviours, talking about, you know, like how the descriptions is, evaluating everything, strengths and weaknesses, and impacting and finishing. But right at the end, when you're talking about evidence, the things that you really do need to do for us is make sure at the bottom, when you've completed everything, that you've signed it and you get your employers to sign it, as well as if there's a third party, and name, which is yourself, line manager, and then if you've got a mentor working with you. Then when you, so this is a level 3 document that's been sent to myself, so I've marked it, and as you can see, there will be some annotation to the side, making sure that you've got some accurate feedback about what needs to be done. But just make sure before you submit that you check everything for numeracy and literacy. Make sure you proofread it. Make sure that you put your name on it. You check for spell check. You've answered the scenario. As you can see down the left, right hand side, started talking about spelling and grammar. If you double word things, delete them. Go all the way down. Make sure, but as you can see, there's not any evidence. So I've put evidence to support this section, more description needed. Get it out of bold. And like I've said, make sure you sign it so yourself, employers and third party. So there's just a little bit of tangible stuff there that I've got you to think about, and some evidence to see what you've actually done. But just to, if you say coming to the end now, let's just finish off and bring a bit of hopefully what we've learned from today, what we've discussed, and just going through. So what goes into your reflective accounts? So massive for me is, have you answered the question? So thoroughly gone through, make sure you've answered the question thoroughly. Discuss how you dealt with the situation in your work environment. It has to be a maximum, so a maximum of 1,500 words, so 3 sections, 500 words per section. That's not with evidence, that's not with, you know, like the questions. It's 500 pieces, 500 words of your own account. Make sure you've stuck to the standards, so knowledge, skills and behaviours. Structure to your work, paragraphs, spelling, pronunciation and grammar. Evidence, obviously making sure you commit enough time, and what we recommend is a minimum of around about 2 hours, just going through everything and pulling your information together, and evidence. Can people start putting onto the chat, please? What type of evidence have you already started to pull in? And also, what evidence do you think we could get? So I'll start you with 1, photographs. So can we start putting some stuff in chat? What evidence?
Darren, we've had a question from Jake. On reflective account templates, there are questions in each box. Are we to use these as guidelines or answer each question individually?
In each section, there is valued starters, if you say. So with Jake, as we've spoke before, Jake, there are more as guidance. So where the question is, right underneath the question within the section, and fill it in that way. So it's starter for 10s and fill that section in and get your 500 words from there. So does that answer your question, Jake? So contact numbers by Chuck, email conversations, excellent. Silas, documents, excellent. Thank you, Jake. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So some really good things. Photos, planning, flyers, certificates, BMS, screenshots, excellent. Some really, really good evidence to really add value to what your reflective
witness
looks like.
statements from Jack.
Witness statements, oh, brilliant. I mean, most of the points that I'm going to show you are obviously, so I've got lesson plans. So we do lesson plans every single session that you go in there. Meeting notes, witness statements.
Nia's put voice notes, Darren.
Pardon? Oh, voice notes. Yeah, I like that
Nia's
one.
put voice notes. Ian, feedback forms, emails from teachers from Ben.
Excellent. Excellent. Some really good evidence and quite a lot that I've put on here. So it's really good that we've started thinking. Progress reviews, not seen that one on there, but you should be having a progress review with your tutors. 1 every unit, so 1 in every 8 weeks. You'll be having a progress review with your tutor and your line manager or your mentor. Videos, video notes, audio recording, pictures, websites, articles, social media posts. So obviously the flyers that's been discussed. Flyers was mentioned by Ian, and so on. So really, really appreciate you listening. I hope that the webinar has been a bit tangible, that you've actually seen some good stuff that's happening and what kind of things that will get you to think about what to put into the reflective accounts, what obviously evidence is needed, what obviously we need to talk about as standards and stuff. So hopefully the last probably 30 minutes, 35 minutes that you've learned a lot and got a lot out of it.